Anyway, like a lot may have experienced too, I didn't start out in IT. For a little while, I didn't know what I wanted to do. That's what the college is for. A lot of times, some people know they go right after it. Bounced around a little bit, but wound up in IT. Got kind of tired of the college, and after that, jumped into the military, as you can see, from 97 to 04. I was deployed constantly, digging in the dirt, living in the sand, Kuwait, Albania, Macedonia, Fort Stewart. The only time I had a sunburn on the top of my hands from riding in a track. That was what I did in the military. It was called MLRS. Anybody know what the Patriot system is or familiar with Patriot? That's the 40 crowd. The middles are like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's kind of like the Patriot. It's the missiles driving. I stuck my head out of a track, and that was the easiest one to shoot. So barreling down the highway. But after doing that for a while, I was always being deployed and gone, Okaloosa or whatnot. I thought, I really don't want to do this anymore. I don't think it's for me. 7 years was enough. So while I was able to do what a lot of you are doing, but a little bit later, and started studying and looking into certs and such as that. Got out. Since I had my feet wet, I had some of the education, not a lot of experience yet, but enough to get the foot in the door. And if you're in that situation, raise your hand. So all of you are employed in IT already. Amazing. I know there's a lot of different situations. For about 3 different companies from 04 to 14, and then started Proactive Data officially in 2014. And today, just some, oh, sorry, I forgot to do. So this is her. This is me. That was me back in the military. I think that was in Fort Stewart in 01, right before 9/11. I had no idea it was in store for the world, for us, for everybody else. I chose this picture actually because I believe she did it. It's actually AI'd, and so that you can tell it's, she looks the same, but I look a lot younger, so I figured that was a good example of that's how you use GPT and Copilot. Forget all the other stuff. But the company today, we have grown about 20% year over year since 2018. We've been very blessed. Have good clients, good staff, and a good trajectory. We've got about 1,000 endpoints. You know what an endpoint is? We all know what endpoints are. That can be any workstation, any managed device. Most of us MSPs, managed service providers, we rate ourselves, judge ourselves off. That's the first question they ask when you get to a convention or anywhere else. Well, how many endpoints do you have? How many endpoints do you have? We've got about 1,000 with 3 techs and a total of 6 full-time employees. And that point being, that's a lot of endpoints for not a lot of staff, but that's how you want it. You want to keep it tight and not have work to do, keep them busy. You don't want to be bored at work anyway. I know companies out there that I know the owners and such that have 19 staff with 1,200 endpoints. I don't know how they make that work, but apparently they do. So, client stack, anybody recognize, besides Microsoft, anybody recognize these brand names up here? Sophos, anybody? Acronis, Huntress, Osio? No. These are the client-facing products that we primarily use. The ones that I would be looking for you guys if you came to me looking for experience in. Now this is specific to us. If you go down the road to CRC or BitWizards, our competition and other guys, they usually are similar but not always the same. Microsoft is going to be a player, probably Veeam, probably Unify, Huntress or Blackpoint. These are all ones that you'll see over and over again probably in the bigger players. Happy to tell you more about them later. The internal stack that we don't really deploy to clients so much, but we use on the inside to manage all of that stack above it is things like ConnectWise, PSA. Anybody heard of ConnectWise? We had a little more. You were here last time. Well, I know he has back there. You weren't in the last class?
I was not.
There was a gentleman sitting here that looks.
Jordan's the only one that was here.
Yeah, he was, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember Jordan.
Yeah, it must have been the peripheral. But ConnectWise PSA, it's like when you go to a dentist or go to your doctor's appointment, they have their EHR. They put your records in, your blood pressure. It has everything about your life, your family, everything else, right? That is our EHR, ConnectWise, the PSA. That's where all our ticketing is. Any experience with that is huge because it's a week long of videos and training just on stuff like that. Screen Connect, I've heard of TeamViewer or what is it, LogMeIn, TeamViewer, all these remote connectivity software. Screen Connect's the one that we use to remote instead of, used to be remote desktop years ago. We know Copilot, right? Thank God.
Yes, we're working with
Yeah, we got something. Okay. Yeah. Copilot is we'll probably get into the AI stuff later when you'll start asking questions. But I use Copilot. Didn't even know it did it, but I was creating this and it pops up and it's like, hey, you want me to rearrange this for you? Yeah, because it looked pretty bad before, but it puts it there. Saves this deck. Probably would have taken me 2 weeks, but it takes much less time. TD Synnex, the bottom two, D&H, those are distributors that we get our stuff from. Amazon Business as well. But these are the big players that have all the goodies and the tech stuff that you buy from. PandaDocs is just quoting. And let's see, if I say that we're at 55% managed, can anybody explain what that means? I don't expect you to, I just like to ask before I explain it. As a managed service provider, which we've gone through a transition in the last 12 months, you generally are looking for your subscription-based, you're looking for recurring revenue for those licensing. And so you're moving from more of a break-fix model, like a Best Buy or somebody doing pure residential work, to subscription-based. They're paying for a service or a flat rate, say $150, $200, whatever it is, per desktop, thank you, Bob, per month, regardless of how much they're calling. So the last 12 months, I've been working on changing this towards a true managed service provider platform or way of billing and doing business. I knew I was 3 years behind, been talking about it, the team's been talking about it. I just knew it would be a lot of work and an undertaking, and it was, but it's gone well. And now we're at about 55% of that top line revenue that we've done is all managed now. The rest is more of a break fix, meaning, something breaks, you go fix it, they pay you to fix it, and that's all there is to it, which is not the model we're looking for. Any questions so far? Comments? Ugly faces? Yes, ma'am.
So when it says client stack, Microsoft, could you elaborate a little bit on what the maybe Microsoft 365 tools are?
Right.
That are used by your company to facilitate operations?
We mainly use, obviously, 365 licensing. That's a big core group. They're that 400-pound gorilla in this race. We're purely 365. Anybody comes with any other email platform, we're going to try to get you to move, only because we're so used to it. The admin center, those things. Also Azure and Intra. We know Azure and Intra. Anybody? Okay. Yeah. So Intra, Azure, those are pretty big. The days of having all the servers there running AD, if you're a school or you've got 1,000 users, that's one thing. But there's so many small businesses, even 10 years ago, when we had 5, 6, 8 computers, even though best practice from Microsoft says 10 endpoints or more gets a domain controller, we were still doing 5, 6, 8. We were still doing local domain controllers, and in a lot of cases, that's all they did. Well, today you've got to spend $4,000 to $6,000, on a server if you want just to do AD. Now we push it to Azure, Intra, and it's a lot cheaper, a lot more effective than others. That way you have a central point of authentication, and You're probably going to use 365 anyway, so you've already got the licenses. It just takes another little P1 license to stack on top of that, or a premium. Yes, sir.
Do y'all use any Linux or Linux products?
Not because I wouldn't. Is for the same reason. That's a good question. For the same reason I don't use a Mac at work, because I can't troubleshoot Windows with a Mac. And Macs don't have many problems. Yeah, just because that's actually good.
And do y'all use any VM software?
We were using, yes, that's heavy. We were using VMware. We've still got a lot of VMware servers out there, but since they sold out to the big business and now want $5,000 to $6,000 a year to keep up the license, our client's not a big fan of that. So we're going to Hyper-V.
Hyper.
I don't think you ever mentioned this, but what do you use Adobe for?
Adobe, mostly for signature.
Oh.
And then we wind up, all of our clients use it. It really could almost go in client or internal. We don't really resell it, but it comes up a lot. Support it, reinstall it when it crashes, but mostly for signature documents. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
So Hyper-V for virtualization, and then what about SharePoint and MS Teams for collaboration and sharing resources?
Yes, that.
We're learning a lot of that here.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because we actually switched to Teams about a year ago, and I would never go back. I actually, I grimace at Zoom just because I'm so used to Teams meetings now, even though Zoom launched, well, what did it do? Zoom died and then it rebirthed after, I think, during COVID or so. But Teams is so much smoother to me, and it's built in already, and most of the time you're going to have a license. SharePoint as well. It's been a big transition with going from normal SMB shares and regular mapped drives to now pushing people to SharePoint, and really it's more about familiarity, and people's resistant to change. They're like, no, I like the way it works. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to learn SharePoint. But when you get in, as long as it's not too large of an organization that doesn't need too many permission changes, it works well. And we do a lot of that, actually. Thank you. Like I said, started in 2014, and been in some small spaces, and this is the latest space. We are in Freeport. I'll tell you more towards the end of that. This is the office out there. Real Vivo. Up here looks like chaos. It is organized chaos. Yeah, right. That's our bench room. Underneath here, these are all tagged, ticketed, and that's actually sitting and waiting to be deployed or rolled out. And guys just kind of, tag it and get to it as they can. All the stuff on the bottom, and then the top is a complete mess. Usually part of my routine in the morning is to come in and complain about anything they left there with the boxes. They're not too bad though. I can't really complain much. Bottom here, that's our salt tank. As I told you, my wife and our dog, our 13-year-old, is our only child, except for these fish here. Those are children too. That's a 600-gallon saltwater tank at the office there. The server racks are an interesting piece, and I got a tour of y'all's lab and everything, which was really cool. Y'all got a lot going on over here. And there's still a lot out there at client sites, but as an MSP, when we started, we were hosting a lot of stuff. We were hosting a lot of backups. We probably got about 100 plus terabytes of data sitting there, but we're slowly rolling it out to Wasabi and other farmed areas to get it off-prem, because now it's almost the same price, especially when you throw in risk assessments to farm it out somewhere else, as to keep it in-house. Because God forbid we get a fire or something, we're right technically in the hurricane alley or whatnot, so it's not the best place to have a big data center. It worked well for a while, but now we can figure out something else to do with that space later on. Before today, did anybody know what an MSP is or what it stands for by show of hands? Oh, that's good. The last class had 0. One had like 6 or so. For those of you that don't, it is a managed service provider. Just that. I mean, a managed service, we don't know who came up with it. It's not the greatest description because managed service is pretty generic, I think. But that's what you are doing. Your main thing is to sell those services, the recurring model, whether it's an antivirus that's managed, whether it's a switch, a desktop, whatever it is. And then you've got those projects underneath that kind of support and fluctuate ongoing. What we are not is a Best Buy. That is a break-fix model. They also do, they do residential. Technically we don't, although I have a hard time saying no when somebody calls me in a pinch. Just on the drive here, the lady calls, she's like, my laptop is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, where are you? All right, because here's what happens. They call, we do the job, or the guy goes there, and then we're billing them $185 an hour. They've got 6 hours worth of little Johnny's and their grandson's photos on there that takes 6 hours to copy because they've had their computer for 12 years. And then later on, they're wondering why their bill's over $1,000 because they wanted you to sit there and make sure everything goes. There's a lot of things like that. Like I said, I hate turning them away, and we only do it when we have to, but it doesn't fit the model and what we're offering. Plus, homes don't see the value in what we have because the value of their computer sitting there with the photos and such, home offices are a little different. But in general, the value of that computer is not the same as the accountant or the business owner or the technician sitting out there evaluating a value of their computer at the office. Does that make sense? So anyway, it's B2B only, meaning just business to business. Again, I get in trouble at work for not saying no. I'm getting better, but it's hard because there's not a lot of good residential around here. I was talking to somebody earlier that is starting something that would be good, but we're actually, if you guys know people that are good at it as far as the residential and going on site and stuff, let me know who they are because we're always looking for, people to give that to because it doesn't work well for us. And I hate turning them away. 6 here. Experience requirements. When Bai and I were talking about questions and such, we thought this would be interesting or good to speak about. When I get a resume, or what I'm looking for, first of all, is experience. I realize that that's the hardest to come by. There's a lot of you guys that are, just starting out, and it's not going to happen, which is fine. But, the second would be the education, the certifications. To me, it doesn't really matter what the certification is in. There are some exceptions. It's 365, Azure, if it's things we're actually doing. If you're Sophos certified, firewalls, those are a huge plus. But at least seeing that certification, tells me you have that stick-to-itiveness. You're going to finish it. You've got a head on your shoulders. You had some direction. That speaks to it. Any other experience is a plus. We had some people talking about interns. We haven't done that yet, but down the road later, I'd be open to it as we settle out a little bit and have more time to train. That's the biggest challenge, is just taking the time to train the intern coming along so that it's helping both sides. But do we have any specific questions to this as far as experience? Yes, sir.
So how much experience are you looking for typically in a new applicant, like, the standard 3 or?
Any number is infinitely better than 0. But, at least a year. The people I'm looking for have worked for an MSP before, ideally. But that's what I'm usually doing, level 2 and stuff like that. Yes, ma'am.
Danielle is my name. What about, as far as experience goes, you're feeling people who have a ton of, say, customer service experience, not a lot of direct IT experience?
Yeah, it depends. I'm glad you said that because that's a good dovetail into the next subject. Well, the soft skills are equally or more important than the tech. At least we can teach the technical. But if you can't look me in the eye and carry on a conversation, or have patience, or not be a jerk to our clients, then that's not something I can teach. So the customer service skills are huge, especially if you're going to be in a client or customer facing role. Not all of them are. They all are for us right now because we're pretty small. We're only 6 people. So everybody touches on it. But
Yes, so Joe, by the way, what type of software is used at your company? Ticketing, asset management, network infrastructure management, security system deployment to customers, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, what type of software do you use? Like ticketing, asset management, network infrastructure management, security system deployment.
I'll be back in about an hour, and I'll get back with you. That's fine. It goes back to ConnectWise PSA. It handles 90% of everything you said. Yes, ma'am.
So I guess maybe to sum that up, is a focus on hardware, software, and IT support issues? So those 3 primary areas is what your company does or provides in the way of services?
Yes, so we've got it split up. A technician is generally going to support, whether it's level 1 or 2, is going to support the desktops there and everything living and breathing on that desktop for the customer. Sometimes it's their software package, we're doing vendor management for them. And then there's the other side too, though, as far as the actual managed services, which is huge, more of the background, a lot of the stuff they don't see. Unless it's an email filter or something's blocking a website for them. And that's generally going to be our TSM, Technical Services Manager, that does that side. Did we get everything? Did that answer your question, the long question? We'll say it again.
I don't remember if you gave me
Okay. Oh, I know he gave it to you. I can tell you're reading. It's like that goes into the prompting there. Yeah,
So I have a question on how students can differentiate themselves during the internship and the job application process to companies like yours.
I have not had an intern yet, so I can speak to the application and the interview, though. I had a guy come in it's been a while, but he came in jeans, a t-shirt, and he was holding a Monster drink. And it took everything in my power not to just turn around and kick him out the door, because that's just not the type of person I am. But, be presentable. The follow-up is huge after you leave a day or two. Sometimes I'll forget all about somebody, and they'll just send me an email and be like, oh, yeah, that's big to me. It shows that you want it. But as far as the presentation, being on time, being early, it's something changed. We were talking about it at the last class. Something changed around 2020, and my wife knows it well too. Yeah, but besides the obvious, yeah, besides COVID, that's what changed it. Somehow it changed the mindset of people and working, and I guess I don't want to say their work ethic, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It just, the whole, I guess, work from home stuff and all that, all our people are local. I don't really want anybody remote. I've had people ask, because there's something you can't get across Teams that you can right here. You can't always put your finger on it, but it's an energy, it speaks a lot, just like anytime I'm trying to sell, sorry?
Chemistry.
Yes, yeah, that too. You can't.
Speaks volumes in a business.
It does. Right. Anytime I'm trying to make a big sale or land a client, if I can, I'm going to go there, and be there with them instead of Teams. But people get so used to Teams, and usually they're asking for it now. We've got contractors and other people besides our 6 that aren't W-2s, but they still work for us, and they're always doing Teams. And I'm saying, try to get us meetings on site,
I didn't say my name before, I'm Michael Martin, but for your application process, if you have an online one, do you guys use AI for it?
We don't use AI for, okay, let me back up. We don't do online apps. We do, I guess technically you can go through Indeed when we hire, but I do use AI to generate, it's about a 20 question technical survey or technical, tech question. And I've scrubbed it, the team scrubbed it. Sometimes we'll go through it. And that helps me gauge, kind of where you are, whether you're level 1, level 2, possibly escalations, or did you just bomb everything and you're an intern or whatever, however it works out. Because you really don't know what I've learned the hard way. A resume is just words, it's just paper. It almost means nothing, but it's all you have at first. That's another thing, actually have a resume. And please don't make it more than a page or 2. I got a resume the other day that was 12 pages long. I almost threw it in the trash without looking at it.
Was he an Indeed hire?
She was not.
That
But,
makes sense then.
Yeah, it was just a long, I don't need to know that you're good at toilet scrubbing and wall painting and it's just a long list of skills was half of it. Keep it to 1 page if you can. If you've got a lot of experience and you've really got it there that you can do 2 pages, by all means put it on there. But I'd rather see 3/4 of a page of real content than 2 pages of fluff. That's just less for me to read and less time that I have to spend going over it.
So one other question that I had, we, over the years, have had students that have had other skills, like one of our students here this evening mentioned being able to provide customer service. Also, some other specialized skills would be drone technology for taking pictures
Right.
that are beneficial to the real estate industry. This particular student actually started his own business doing that for the real estate industry. So it was very creative and innovative, and that's taken off now. But security cameras are also a big area of tech, especially now with IoT,
Right.
Internet of Things, which we just covered in our previous module. So how would that work if someone wanted to approach you in a way, maybe a partnership, because they're doing that on the side while they're going through school or have finished school? Would that be something that your business might be interested in or might be beneficial with a partnership of sorts?
As long as they're licensed and insured, yes. Well, because we don't, it's 2 of the things we don't do. We don't do websites, we don't pretend to. We used to a long time ago, but now they're this big monster. And we don't do cameras. If somebody wants an Arlo or something, fine. Or one single Meraki camera. But the actual camera systems, we also don't do cabling, and they always go right together. We can run a few, but we don't have a low voltage license, nor do I want one. If you've seen the Florida codes and what it takes, you'll understand why. But so we farm that stuff out. We can take care of it all, and it'll still be billed from us. But a lot of times we just develop partnerships with other companies that do that stuff. So thanks. Did I see somebody else here over here? I didn't think so. Okay. Any other experience, comments, questions? Sad faces, smiley faces. There's one. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Savannah. I guess my main thing is, this is my first IT anything, is taking this class. What would be my best way to, get experience with like some of those programs you use and all that stuff? Just try to get like a call center job, or?
That's one that I've gotten before that's very difficult to
Yeah.
answer, because that is the hardest thing. Like I said, experience is what we need, and it's because it's the hardest thing to get. But to speak to what you're saying, there's a lot. YouTube is amazing.
Sure.
I'm sure you're all on it every day. But if you use it for what's out there, as far as instructional videos, any of that stuff's on there.
Use that in a resume, if I know kind of what I'm talking about.
Don't say I watched YouTube, but
Experience.
you're right, but familiar with XYZ,
That's interesting.
have walked through this. And then Copilot, ChatGPT. You guys have to be careful with AI, in my opinion, when it comes to software, because software changes so fast it can't keep up. If I Google how to do something with software now, when I say Google, I mean using ChatGPT, showing my age there now. But it may say something here, and half the time when you reference it, the menus are wrong, things have changed, you know, because coders can't keep things the same. It's going to change tomorrow. So it's too dynamic. But other stuff it can, and it can still be a baseline to at least point you in the right direction. But again, I would say anything 365 for us, we're heavy in 365. The admin side, Azure, Intra. Firewalls, routers, networking. Focus on that. It's one of the hardest ones, but it's one of the pieces that I see people testing out the weakest on. And it's one thing that I lean hard on because I know that's probably the weakest, whether it's, you know, IP subnetting and then general troubleshooting, VLANs, DNS is huge, you know, all these, whether DHCP, routing, all that good stuff. Do you need it verbatim like you see it in class? Yeah, sometimes. Do you?
That's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
a lot of the
it's good. It's good stuff, and it's not easy, but that was one of my favorite parts. I think because it's applicable later on too in the troubleshooting role. Appreciate that.
I think Michael has another question.
Oh, sorry. What was that? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to jump off her question and ask, like, as far as getting experience in MSP, you know, like, where would be a good place to get that experience? Because as you were just mentioning, getting experience is hard because everyone wants it, but no one wants to give it.
The larger MSPs are going to be best. Like I said, we haven't done interns yet. Not that you would just be, you know, not be worthy of more than an intern. I don't know. You guys are about halfway, I think, in the course. And anybody is A+ or Net Plus security, anything yet?
I got A+.
You have A+, okay.
We have a combination of students in this class.
Okay.
Right now we have the beginning students that are like, I'd say a third of the way through our program for A+. And then we have the Security Plus students. Those are the ones that have already completed the A+ with our group here, our program of study, and then moved to the second
Right.
year of study, which is the Security Plus. So a combination of students
Okay.
in this class.
Yeah, those are, I mean, I value those, like I said before, the certifications, especially the A+, Net Plus. I did A+ a long time ago. When I did mine, I didn't even have wireless on it because it wasn't important. I think that was 02, 04, something like that. But those are all valuable, even though you're not generally taking stuff apart, putting it back together, but you do some. And then the Net Plus speaks to everything her and I were talking about with the routing and switching at a base level, I think.
Some people
Yes.
say that Security Plus trumps Network Plus. You can have both, but I guess depending on who you work for, I work for DoD already, but I don't do IT, so.
Okay. And
Jobs, I guess that's a prerequisite. with
Right.
Security Plus, and if you have that, it's okay to not have Network Plus at that moment in time.
I would probably have to agree with that. I mean, I would value either one. I mean, I actually did Network Plus. I don't think I did Secure Plus. It may not even been around yet. But yeah, either one is good. It depends on the path you want to take, of course.
Levi, by the way.
Levi.
Yes.
Oh, good to meet you. So yeah, it depends on the path you're looking for. He had said, you know, why did I start this? And somebody at last class said, I wish you'd have been here because what did he say? What drives you, or what like, you know, what drives you? What makes you go? Was it you that asked? How did you phrase it? You said.
What drives you to be a businessman? Like,
Yeah, but you were like, what drives you? And you stopped there, and I was like, is that my wife back there? Because she asks these hard questions all the time. It's kind of almost an inside joke. I don't mean to cut you off, but the driving force at this point years ago was that I was already doing this. I didn't realize I was working for somebody else, a company that's no longer here, and a great group of folks, good company, but they stopped feeding me work basically, and I kept asking, you know, for a promotion. And I just felt it hitting a ceiling there. There was nowhere else to go, which really frustrated me, which, you know, I'll go ahead and say it now that you're here. And I told them in the last video that part of it was I've been told and taught by my other half that I am very competitive and didn't realize it. She does well, and I compete with that, but it's healthy. So that was part of that drive. I knew that I wasn't going to raise and challenge myself anymore by staying there, and it started out to where maybe some of you have seen this too. You have that person says, "Oh, can you just do this for me on the side, real quick?" So you start doing that, and then that starts outweighing what you're doing for the current company. And I knew there was a shift coming, and it wasn't fair to the current company for me to keep going. Although, to be clear, I made sure that their stuff was 110% done before I stepped into my own realm. And I didn't even realize what had happened, but after a few years or so, it already had a small client base, which made it an easy transition. Well, except for the lawyers writing up stuff for exiting and the non-competes and stuff like that, but it went well. And I realized that I really enjoyed the business side too. Not just the technical, but the invoicing, the sales, the numbers, the reports. That's about all I do now, and it's probably my favorite part of it after 20 years of IT. So, comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, that came in a little bit late, so if you've already covered this, please.
Oh, no problem.
Do you guys have like a logistics department or anything?
We don't. If I know exactly what you mean, elaborate on that.
More so for people in the field, getting them to where they're supposed to be, making sure that all of them are taken care of, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, and that's not yet. We've got some internal project management, and then procurement, but we're pretty small, so it kind of works itself out, thankfully, so far. Anything else before I move on? I think we've just got a few left here. How are we doing on time? Okay, not too bad. Okay. Yeah, you were right. They're less inquisitive than the last, which is fine. I'm just pointing out. Somebody last class had asked too, what's a day in the life? There's a huge difference. So I would like to see a show of hands. If you think you would like a job working for, like, say, Ford on the same network, or even the school, working on the same network all the time, or would you rather be more inclined to come work for somebody like us where you're doing different stuff every day? Same network, raise your hand. Different stuff?
I just want to work.
You just want to work? Either one, you don't care? Good answer. Sounds like Travis. Because this is the biggest difference that I see, and we get a lot of hotheads come in and think they are really good, and they are really good at what they're doing in the space with one organization and one network. But it's a completely different mindset. It's a mind shift, and it's the soft skills too is the biggest thing, because when you get used to working with the same people every day, whether you're at a big car dealership or whatever it is, it's completely different space than you get off the phone and then hang up, and then the next time you just talk to the secretary at a dental office who couldn't get their email working, and now you're picking up the phone and you're talking to the owner of a multi-million-dollar plant who can't get his whatever, and he's very irate, and you're jumping over, and not only are you changing people, you're changing the network, the processes, everything they use. It's completely different. I love that about it, but some people don't. I think you were first. In 1 second.
My name is Gavin Berger.
Gavin?
I just wanted to know if there was anything your company did in relation to ICS.
ICS. I'm going to say no because I don't know what that stands for.
Industrial Control Systems.
Oh, no, we don't. Actually, I think he showed, so I saw in your lab back there, which was pretty cool. Yeah, that is in depth enough now that it is completely separate. I mean, somebody did our door locks and everything else, and then their own. They usually couple those with cameras a lot too. I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Physical security. Anyway, yes.
Yes, I'm Andre. For like separation of duties or tasks for your employees, do you have certain employees work with certain clients, or is it just
first come, whatever comes in, this next guy is ready to go, so he gets it? How do you do like the separation of tasks?
That's a good question and very intuitive as well, because we were just talking about that yesterday. I was saying I wish that we could do that. But it also does silo the people. And plus what happens, so the answer is no, we don't. But it silos that technician. It also limits their visibility to other applications and other things. People get attached to one technician, and what happens if he or she leaves? So there's a lot of inherent issues with that, and also limiting things that make it hard to do. But I kind of wish we could, but we don't. I mean, people are on vacation. What if their tech's gone? Somebody else got to fill in. So.
When it says lunch and it says varied, what does that mean? Just pass out if I do not eat.
I'm with you. I get hungry. She can go all day and not eat and just be fine, but I would be knocking somebody's head off trying to get a something. Because the guys eat when they can. They just never know if they pick up the phone.
How long that may take.
Yeah, it's gonna, or they pick up the phone and something's hard down, they can't fix it. It's 10:40, they're out the door, and we don't see them for the rest of the day. Hopefully it's because they went somewhere else and not the same place.
Right.
But it just varies. I mean, I usually eat lunch about 10 a.m. and then that's it, because it works well for me. But we do, like, you can eat.
Here's some screaming.
Right? What is that? It's your stomach? Yes.
Oh, by the way, I don't think I've introduced myself, but my name's Elijah.
Elijah, good to meet you.
In terms of projects, like, I just wonder, like, could you go a little bit more detail into that?
Projects, and yeah, of course, our, at an MSP, generally, a project is a very specific thing, and it basically means something you're going to bill extra for. So they're already paying a flat fee to cover support. Something breaks, the managed device is covered. If it's a project, it's going to be, usually the way we do it is anything net new is going to be a project. So if we replace a computer, it's included. We replace an access point, you're good. But we add an access point, we add a new computer, we add a domain, a software. Those are projects.
Okay.
And company meetings are only on Tuesdays. They're not every day. But it's at 8:30 because I can't get anybody to sit down by 8. And I just have to have everybody there and seated and ready. We tried for a while, just didn't work. Come in at 7:58. Got one guy that's there every day at 7:30. Love it. So if you're going to do it, just be early. I mean, 7:30 is pretty early, but he does live across the street, so so he has an excuse, I guess. Yes, ma'am.
Is your goal kind of like to get to 100% managed business? And
Yes.
does that help you keep like a smaller employee full-time amount?
Yes. You're pretty smart. That's yes, that's absolutely the goal, because it gives forecastability for the client. So they know they're paying a flat fee. One day something happens that they need us for 15 hours that month. For some reason, they don't pay anymore. On the flip side, we've got the people that are super quiet on a break-fix model. They call us twice a year. We never hear from them again. But otherwise, if we can have them flat, they're just paying steady. We can forecast it too and know what's coming, and it's much more manageable for both sides, really.
Yeah. So you said you had gotten to 45% managed?
55.
55%? Okay, so that's, that's
Yeah, it was.
close back to your...
It went quick. Yeah, most of them were conversions. It went quickly. It's a hard sell sometimes for people that have never really used an MSP. So they start and they manage internally, or they have the IT guy or IT girl, and then they go to a managed company, and suddenly it's thousands a month or a year or whatever, and they're going, what? We can't afford that, and it doesn't weigh out right. But we work around it. It works out. Anything else? Yeah, thank you. And if you have any questions or anything else, now's the time to ask.
What major professional failure or setback have you experienced, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, wow. Did you read that one? Was that prompted? That's a good question. What major failures and setbacks? That still happens every day. You know, anything you don't learn from is a success, really. But see, there's been nothing real major. You know, I would say there's been no wars lost, but there's been several small battles. Most of it, the hardest part, again, has been sales, closing deals, marketing. Marketing's the number one killer for everybody. You can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on it and go nowhere, or you can do it right and do better anywhere in between. So I would say my biggest challenge, I'll say instead of a success failure, just because it's not coming top of mind right now, would be marketing. That's been the hardest part. You know, we started back, I've made all the mistakes of doing the magazines and the billboards and this, that, and the other, because it's it seems like that would work. Right. And it can work if your target market is everybody that passes by that billboard. But we're not looking for everybody driving by. We're looking for buy that runs, you know, all this, or for somebody that runs a clinic, somebody that has that buying power and decision making, the owners. So,
The bigger picture.
What's that?
The bigger picture.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I've spent all that, and you've just really got to target it, but that's been one of the hardest. Did that answer the question at all? Anything else?
Well, also as a business owner, the mental. So that's where
Mental is
the
huge.
mental is huge.
It'll make or break
So
you.
I'm pretty sure the wife kept you
Oh.
focused, like keep going.
Yeah,
Something like that.
all this wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. That's for sure.
So, you know, kind of briefly talk about just what do you guys provide any training, and what kind of training, how much training?
Nope, you're on your own. No, I'm just kidding. Well, again, we haven't done an intern, and that's why, because we know you'll expect to be trained. Now, we've hired some level ones that, she knows what I'm talking about. We've hired some level ones that thought they were interns and left upset because they weren't trained. Like, well, we thought you were already. But yes, there's training on the internal mostly. If we were hiring for a level one, we would expect a base knowledge, but there is expected some training, but most of it is with the internal. Like, you need to know, if you're going to be a level one and not an intern, you need to be able to do basic networking, remove viruses, you know, talk to people, be patient, the soft skills, the basic stuff, and then you can work your way up. Most of the time is going to take learning all of the portals and all of the PSA, the ticketing, you know, that's really a lot of it. I saw one hand here. No? Okay. Well, yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Don't be.
Elizabeth Morgan, one of the instructors here at our meeting. Documentation, communication, and the ability to work with others sounds like it's very important to you, as well as knowing how to speak the language, the terminology
Right.
of networking and providing the services that your clients want. Is that correct?
That is right. Absolutely correct. I mean, if you, one thing a lot of customers like is that they say we don't make them feel dumb. So there's that finesse between speaking the language and not speaking down to them. Yeah, just help them out and be patient, but the documentation is huge. That I feel is a thorn in every MSP's side. I'm a member of a group called Evolve that is basically a peer group. We get together once a quarter with other large MSPs. Some of them are much bigger than us, and we can sit there and talk and compare notes on this, and there's always problems with documentation. It's always a work in progress, honestly. You seem really excited about this. What is it?
Well, you're talking about documentation. I've had bosses before whose their favorite saying was, if it's not noted, it didn't happen.
That's good.
Yes, and my old company would say, you know, if it's not in ConnectWise or PSA, it didn't happen. And then my wife will tell you the same thing about what she does. It's got to be documented, because otherwise, how do you know? I mean, you can't. If somebody comes back and says, you know, where's my backups that you had? Oh, they were there. I promise you, they were there. Well, show me. Documentation has to be. But if you don't make it out to Freeport, if you guys have other questions, I'm available. If I don't answer right away, I will call you back. That's my cell phone, text, email. If anything else comes up, yes, sir.
There's one thing you mentioned earlier. I don't know if you mentioned it again. I went to listen twice. You mentioned before about a network quiz.
Oh, yes. Yeah, if y'all want a copy of that, that was the one I used for interviews. I thought we talked about it, but maybe it was last time. Yeah, if y'all want a copy of it, I'm happy to share it with you. Just let me know if you want the answer key or not. And then, but just email me and I'll send you a copy of it. And I think it was 70% plus is a level 2, and then 50 to 70 is a 1, and below 50 is probably an intern. And they're scattered throughout. There's a lot of, maybe fun to look over though. No other questions? Well, we got to let you go have dinner, I assume.
Work hard every day.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you having me out here, and the best of luck to you, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys later.